So we have one more speaker before we have a short, brief break. So that will be Jennifer Spears. She's gonna come up and talk about accounting strategies, and then we'll have a little break, and then we'll have our Q&A. But listen, have y'all not already seen Jen be so fly at the style session? And then she helped the saints on motherhood. But Jen is like, I don't even know where to start. I just love her. Y'all don't even know. Like, she didn't know me from Adam, and I was going through something, and somebody was like, you need to talk to Jen. And I was like, hey. Somebody said April said I should talk to you. And like, she took time out of her day, which if y'all were in the motherhood session, the sister is booked. Do you hear what I'm saying? She is whole booked. I mean, she got something else to do right now, but she up in here. And she took her time out to really talk to me and just her life and watching her with her family and her husband, even on the gram, blesses my life in a way you have no idea. So I am so excited to have Jen share with us about some accounting so that way we can be equipped and release these businesses. Amen, somebody? Give her a round of applause.
Juliet Bush. I love Jules. How y'all doing? I told Heather, I was like, they gonna get tired of seeing me. Like, you up there again, sis? What you got to talk about now? But this is a subject that is, it's just near and dear to my heart because, especially with the influx now of entrepreneurs and small business owners, and I'm finding now that a lot of people are just not equipped to effectively run their businesses. I'm so glad that this session started directly after Kiana's, right? So Kiana got y'all hooked up with like the legal advice and a legal strategy. So I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about financial and accounting strategies. And we can go ahead and start the PowerPoint presentation. No? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. So accounting strategies for entrepreneurs. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so about me. So my name is Jennifer Spears. I am the owner and CEO of Spears Accounting Solutions. After spending 10 years as a corporate accountant, I decided to start my own virtual accounting firm. And just to give you a quick story on how that happened, I actually didn't want to do that. I left corporate America after I got married. Before I got married, the Lord began to lay on me and my husband's heart that we're going to be, my husband was already an entrepreneur, but that I would be a full-time entrepreneur. I had Recessionista's Closet, which is my online boutique. And I also have like a hair collection. And so there were a lot of things that I was dipping and dabbling into and that I wanted to put 100% of my time in. But how many of you know that it takes time before you can just jump out there and leave your full-time job? I know that a lot of, the social media gurus will tell you to quit your job, go ahead and be an entrepreneur, be a boss chick, and all of that. But let me tell you, Luke, you have to use wisdom. You have to make sure everything happens in timing and seasons. There is an appointed time that you're supposed to leave your current job to be a full-time entrepreneur, and you can't do that out of order, okay? So we have to make sure that we're being protected and we're protected when we're in His will. So I had to wait. I had to go to that, job. How y'all doing? I'm here. Accounting meetings and all of that good stuff. And I was just like, I told my husband, I was like, I just kind of stumbled upon this. I have a business degree, but now I just don't want to do that anymore. And I'm just not passionate about accounting. I don't want to be here. So long story short, we get married, and then God laid it on my husband's heart, and then that it's time. And so I left my job, and the month after I quit my job, I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter, Cree. I was like, really, God, you are so funny. You are so funny. So now I don't have insurance because how many entrepreneurs in here, you know how it is. You're not covered under insurance. You have to go out and get your own insurance. So I didn't have insurance and things like that. And then I had Cree, and then Recessionista's Closet wasn't doing well. When you're an entrepreneur, know that there's highs and lows in your business, okay? You may have a great year, 1 year, and then the next year may not be so great. So that's why we have to make sure that we financially plan for the year, for the slow season. So it just wasn't working. And my husband had a slow business. He's a contractor. He has a construction company. So in the winter seasons, he's not really building, not doing a lot of renovations. People aren't thinking about renovating their bathroom or things like that until it gets to like spring. So that's like the slow season. So we needed something to supplement our income. So I told my husband, because there's no pride with me. I was like, I'll go back to corporate America. There's no pride with me. I am not one of those people who try to portray one thing on social media. I don't care what y'all say. Oh, she said she left her job and now she got to go. You're right, because I got bills. I got to go back and get my money, okay? You're right. You know what I mean? I am not one of those people. There is no shame in my game. I got bills. So I decided, I told my husband, and he's like, why don't you start your own thing? I was like, another business? And I was like, I really don't want to do that. I'm I really want to put my all into like my fashion and my hair company. I really don't want to do that. And so he's like, babe, I think that you should do it. So I said, okay. So I was like, I'm just going to put an ad out there. So I'm like, how am I going to put the ad out there? Maybe I could put it on Thumbtack. And then God told me Craigslist. I was like, now scammers sometimes live on Craigslist. So I was like, Lord, I'm about to be scammed. But I was obedient. I put the ad on Craigslist, and literally within a matter of days, I got my first client. It was an ethnic food store, and it just went from there. And the crazy thing about it is that once when the owner of the ethnic food store decided to hire me, one of the things that he wanted was my references. So I was like, from other clients, and so I don't want to, I was going to lie to him. I wasn't going to lie to him, but I wasn't going to exactly say, you're my first client. Then he'd really be scared. So I was like, okay, great. Now, see, here's another thing, too. And I know that we're going to get to the accounting piece, but I just want to teach a little bit. So here's another thing. When it is time for you to leave your full-time job, leave the right way. Okay? Know that God is a God of decency and order. So don't be like, I quit, child. I'm gone. I done got my bag. Bye. We're not doing that. I gave them, in fact, I gave them my 2-week notice, but I also told them, if you need anything, let me know. If you need me to train my replacement, if you need me to stay a little bit longer. And it wasn't because I was in love with the company. I was not. It wasn't because I thought that my boss was a great person. He was not. But I just know that God was going to bless that. And we're Christians. We're supposed to do that. That's what we're supposed to do, right? So I left the right way. So I know, so the first thing that popped in my head was, let me I could put my boss's name down as a reference, right? And so I gave him a heads up, my former boss. I was like, I just started my virtual accounting business. My new client needs a reference. He was like, yeah, sure. Give him give him my information. Gave him the information. So I start to work with my client. After 1 month, my client was able to see a huge increase in their profits because now they actually have someone that's on his team, and we're going over financial reports, we're forecasting, we're going over budgets, sales strategies, those type of things. I think a lot of times people don't realize all of the things that an accountant does. And so he saw value in that, and he said, you know what? Your former client, he was right about you. And I said, what? He said, he told me, he said, you're in great hands. She's a great accountant. She's one of the best. I hate that she left. We didn't know how valuable she was until she left. Okay. Stay with me. Follow me. Okay. So then I'm like, he said that? So I share with Sean. So if you ever have a conversation with my husband, he is a strategist all the time. He is always thinking, always coming up with strategy. He said, they said that. You should send him a thank you email. And you should also see if he has any needs for you. I said, oh, no. I'm not going back there. No, see, I don't have no pride, but I was like, I'm not going back there. I was like, they get on my nerves. I didn't like working there. I was miserable. He said, no, like for yourself. And I was like, they're not going to go for that. Like, they like they like having an in-house accountant. I've worked with them, so I know how it is. They're not going to want someone working from home and doing all these other things. And I want to be at home. I want to be able to make my own schedule so that I can run a lot of my other businesses, right? And so my husband said, what is the worst that they could say? They could either say yes, and that would be praise God. You have another client. Or they could say no and praise God for that too, because you already have Delden. You already have your first client. So I'm like, you know what? You're right. There's nothing to lose. I sent the email. He responded back within an hour and said, let's schedule a meeting. Okay. So I go to the meeting and I sit down with my client and he says, yeah, I mean, we want to go ahead and bring you on. And so I was already flustered because I'm like, I wasn't expecting him to say that. And he said, let's talk numbers. And so I already in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm not, what should I say? And see, God had already had it set up because I didn't even have to tell him what my fee would be. Because I know what my fee is, but I was just like, I think that I know how much money their business makes. So I'm like, I don't think you should pay the same price that my first client paid, because I gave him a discount because he kind of took a chance on Lance with me. So, I want to make sure that I'm not undercutting myself. And so he threw out a number, and I was like, you want to pay me? I'm sorry, can you repeat that? And so he said that, and I was like, okay, great. And so I walked away from that, called my husband. I was like, babe, so I'm going back to the job that I left, okay, the right way, because God told me to leave. And then I started the virtual accounting firm on faith. And now my client, and I already know how much money they bring, and they're hiring me to do everything from their payroll, for everything that I was doing before, but I get to set my own hours and I get to do it at home, and I'm making 3 times the amount of my salary was before. Don't tell me what God cannot do. And that is what happens when we do things the right way. When we are not stepping out, there's a season and a time for everything. That we're not leaving because of our flesh and because we mad at our manager, get on my nerves. You're going to go someplace else and you're a manager, you're still going to get on your. Guess what? My clients get on my nerves too. So you're always going to have someone that's, even as an entrepreneur, you're not going to escape that. You're going to deal with difficult people. You're going to deal with difficult clients. So you cannot escape that, okay? So you have to make sure that you leave the right way. But I wanted to share that quick story with you guys. So that's how Spears Accounting Solutions was birthed. Next slide. Okay, so let's see where we fall, because I know that, how many entrepreneurs are in here, current entrepreneurs? Okay, wow, we have a lot. How many aspiring entrepreneurs do we have? All right, I love that y'all are in here, because let me tell you about it. When you start your business the right way, you don't have to worry about going back trying to fix things, right? And those of you entrepreneurs who have been in business and maybe you're not up to par on your legal strategies or your accounting and financial strategies, know that you can change, okay? So let's see where we are. Okay, so where do you fall? How many people are how many entrepreneurs in the house are manually tracking your numbers using Excel and a shoebox full of receipts? There's no shame, okay? Anybody else? Okay, all right. How many entrepreneurs do we have that are focused on managing your business, but you're not tracking your numbers at all? You could be in both of those okay, all right. You could be in both of those categories. How many of you are using an accounting system, but you're still kind of in DIY mode? You're still kind of doing it yourself? Okay, all right. Okay, how many of you are currently working with a professional accountant that can turn your financial data into insights that you can grow your business? Where you at? Praise God. Okay. All right. So we're going to learn some things today. Let's go to the next slide. Just wanted to make sure where I was. Okay. So first thing that you want to be aware of, okay, the first thing, if you don't budget your personal finances, that's going to spill over into your business finances, okay? It is. And I'm going to speak from experience that in our household, my husband is the one, and it's crazy because I am the accountant, so I'm great with numbers, but I don't always, stick to the budgets, okay? But one thing that my husband actually told me that you have to get your finances and everything in order, or your business is not going to grow because it's going to spill over into your business. And what happens is if you're financially illiterate, okay, you're going to start commingling things. You're going to start using all of the income that you have coming in to go towards yourself. And I see that all the time. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. Know that trust me, a lot of entrepreneurs are doing that. They're using the business income to pay for personal things. And a lot of people, they kind of get it confused because you say, well, it's my business. Yes, but that money does not belong to you. It belongs to the business. So the money is supposed to be reinvested back into the business. And then you can either pay yourself a salary, okay? And I understand that some of you may be in maybe the area where you're funding your own business, right? So if you're funding your own business, I get that. So it's like, okay, well, I gave the business $500, so I need to get my $500 back. And I understand that, but there's a way to do that without commingling. Say no to commingling because the IRS frowns on commingling. If you ever had to get an audit and you're using like your business debit card to pay for things that are not business expenses, they are going to come after you and it's going to cost you a lot of money. You're going to have to pay penalties and back taxes, and you don't want to have to do that. So make sure that you're not commingling expenses. So you may say, okay, well, Jen, you know, what should I do? Like, where do I start with that? Well, the first thing you need to do is you have to open up a business account. Like, you should have a business checking account, right? And you should have a personal checking account. If you have to say, you have a t-shirt line and you need to buy t-shirts, but maybe the business doesn't have the money right now, so you need to finance that. What you're going to do is you're going to transfer the money from your personal account to your business account. So now there's a paper trail. So if you got an audit, the IRS can clearly see that where that money came from, that it came from your personal into your business account, and then you use that business money to then purchase the shirts. Okay, so then what happens when you actually receive the profit? Okay, when you receive the profit, that don't mean that you're going to take that whole $500 and transfer it right on back into your personal account, because now your business needs it. Because I'm sure you need some more t-shirts. You have to keep up with your inventory. So if you're at a place where you want to pay yourself, okay? You want to pay yourself a salary, even if it's $50 a week. I actually had started out, because I work with all level clients, whether you're just starting out and you don't have much, or if you are a multi-million revenue generating client, I work with those as well. So what I had her do was I said, well, you can afford to pay yourself $100 a week. And she was still in corporate America. So pay yourself $100 a week. I don't want to see no more nail expenses on your business checking, okay? This has nothing to do. Well, I had to go to a meeting with a client, so I needed to look. The IRS ain't buying that, okay? They don't even buy anymore. In previous times, you could actually expense things that you wore to work. Now, if you're not a doctor or actually have to wear that as a uniform, you cannot expense what you bought at Macy's. You done bought 5 suits at Macy's and you're trying to expense that on your taxes. And a lot of people are doing it. If y'all doing it, y'all better stop doing it. I'm telling you, y'all better stop doing that, because it does eventually come back to bite you. So making sure that you're not commingling. The next slide. Okay, so why accounting and bookkeeping is important. So the first point is, can y'all see that? Y'all can see that? Is this in your way as well? It's in your way. I'm sorry. I figured it was in your way. See how I can work? I kind of work, because I'm in pinky promise mode too, but I'm also in speaker mode, and I just want to make sure that y'all can see it, because I'm fine. I can hold my notes and go back to it if I need to, and we're doing good on time. So now you guys can see it. Is that better? Okay. So did I create an issue? Oh, is it okay. Okay, calm down, y'all. He's going to help us, and we're going to keep on talking. Okay, so the first point, provides entrepreneurs with the clearest picture of their business growth and success. So that is so important. How do you know if your business is even successful if you're not keeping up with your books? And that's just not tracking income and expenses. It's more to just tracking income expenses. I know that a lot of times you may see on social media, multiple streams of income, and I see that all the time. A lot of the entrepreneurs that come to me, they have like 10 businesses, and I get it. I do some of everything too. But if you're not aware of how well those businesses are doing, you don't know if you're wasting your time. Like sometimes I'll sit down with and I'm like, only 2 of these businesses are profitable and you have 10. Why are you doing this? You're wasting your time by doing that. So it's found in the number. Your financial data and your financial intelligence, that's telling how well your business is doing. That's telling how fast your business is growing. And if you're already doing this on the front end, guess what? You're prepared for the growth, right? We're supposed to prepare for the growth, right? We want to be successful. We want to have, we want our businesses to generate a lot of income, but we also have to make sure that we are prepared for the growth. So the next slide is, it helps with business planning. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, they needed me to come in because they needed to decide if they were able to fulfill what their client needed. And I love that they called me because they get it. They understand that I'm going to be able to figure out if they can financially do it. And I get it. If God tells you to do it, you should definitely do it. But a lot of times, God is not really saying that, and we feel like our business is ready, and our business is not. And then we put our business in a very, very tight position by stepping out and adding something else, or stepping out and taking on a contract that can leave us cash poor. You don't even know what your cash flow is. If you're not, because again, it's not just tracking income and expenses, it's understanding how money moves, you know what I'm saying, through your business. It's how, from the time that you receive whatever your accounts receivable is, from that time to whenever your bills are due, is understanding what your cash flow is looking like. And people always talk about, why is the rate of business, most businesses fail within their first few years? And the reason why is because they're not doing those things. They have no bookkeeper, they have no account, they're just receiving the money, spending the money, and then the receipts are in the shoebox. They have no type of system in place, and so they don't understand their cash flow, and because they don't, they're cash poor. So when you're cash poor, you can't really move how you want to move. So having an accountant in addition to having a bookkeeper on staff is going to help you with that. So how do I get started? Option 1, you can hire an accountant to do everything. Okay, that's what we offer, multi-services. I can do your payroll. I can pull your profit and loss statements. I can do your bookkeeping. Literally, most of my clients, I have username and logins for their checking account, for their business accounts, and all of those things, and I'm able to keep up with it. So don't have to worry about it. I'm keeping up with their income, their expenses, their cash flow. We're having monthly meetings where we're talking about what the profit and loss statement is, and we're also strategizing, okay? So that was I think that was on the previous side, and I didn't get to talk about it, but let's talk about taxes really quick. Did you guys see where Amazon did not have to pay taxes? Okay. That would be a whole nother session, and I don't have time to break down all of that. But let me just tell you, they have people in place to strategize for them. And because that's what accountants do, we try to figure out, how can we get you out of paying taxes, right? How can we reduce your tax liability? And we don't know you. I have a client who loves to call me in January. I ain't talked to you since last January. And now you want to come see me. Guess what? It's too late because the fiscal year has ended. December 31st is over. So I can't help you strategize now to reduce your tax liability. But if you have someone that's on your team, even if it's quarterly, if your business can afford to see an accountant quarterly every 3 months to kind of see where you are, we can gauge, like, let's see how we can reduce that tax liability. Maybe we can move some things around. Maybe you need to do this. Maybe you need to do that. And that's what Amazon did. Like, they did a whole lot of things. And all of it is legal. I mean, there are over 18,000 tax laws that, and I don't even know all of them, to be honest, and no accountant will know all of them, but there's so many different gray areas in taxes that there are ways, trust me, if you have a professional on your team, to be able to reduce your tax liability. It also keeps your financials organized. You ever feel like as an entrepreneur, like you're like, oh my gosh, there's money coming in and I'm spending money and I don't know where I'm at? It's gonna help keep those things smoothly. You'll be able to get reports, or if you have QuickBooks, how many people are familiar with QuickBooks? Okay, we're gonna talk about that in the next slide. So option 1 is to do that. Option 2 is to do your own bookkeeping. You can do your own bookkeeping and use things like QuickBooks, right? That'll save you some money, especially if you're just starting out. You can do those things. Be your own be your own bookkeeper and keep up with your things instead of keeping your receipts in your shoebox. You're going to actually have QuickBooks, which is an accounting system that you're going to be able to keep track of those things. So you can do that and then just hire an accountant to be able to kind of go in and classify some things, make sure that you're doing everything, that everything is set up correctly in QuickBooks. They'll do the reporting, and then they'll also analyze your financial data and kind of tell you how financially healthy your company is. And then, again, you can use a cloud-based accounting software. I always recommend QuickBooks because it's user-friendly. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so QuickBooks is user-friendly. It also has a great payroll feature. It kind of offers everything. And then now what it does offer, I found that out like a few months ago. I was in my client's QuickBooks profile because most of my clients use QuickBooks. I like using QuickBooks, one, because they can grab their phone, and because they have us on staff, weekly they can go in and run numbers and see where they are, okay? So they can, from a matter of their phone, because QuickBooks has an app, they can go in and see where they are. And so I love that QuickBooks has that feature. And if they're out and about and they say they paid cash for a coffee and they want to keep track of it, they can take a picture of it and upload it to QuickBooks. Their accountant has already seen it. And so QuickBooks also has a virtual bookkeeping feature. I'm all for, if you cannot afford an accountant, do not go out and hire an accountant, okay? If you can't afford to do so, it definitely is worth the investment. But if you're just kind of starting out, there are some things that you can put in place and do yourself. Again, another thing you can do is to track your receipts in apps. If we can go to the next slide. I'm going to go through some of those apps here. Yep. So here's some of the great apps for keeping track of your receipts. There's one called Shoebox, and it's called Shoebox because they already know what you do. Your receipts are in a shoebox. So now they don't have to be in a shoebox. They can be in your app. Expense Tracker is also really good, and so is Smart Receipts. And so this can help you keep track of all of your receipts. Now, clients always ask me, well, what receipts do I need and what receipts don't I need? Because sometimes they'll spend $1.50. The IRS don't care that you spend $1.50 on, even if it was for a pen for your business. It really doesn't matter. So, there is a threshold of receipts that you have to keep on file, and it's anything that is $50 and over, I believe, that you want to make sure that you're keeping that on file. Anything else that you don't have, they can look at your bank statements or your credit card statements. Another tip I want to leave you with is to set financial goals for your business and calculate a minimum monthly profit. So that's important. Making sure that that we can say things in our head like, oh, I want my business to make $1 million this year. Okay, sis, how you going to do it? I'm not saying that you can't do it, but how are you going to do it? What monthly goals are you going to set to be able to meet that? Stick to a budget, okay? Just because money is coming in and say business picks up real quickly. I see that happen a lot of times. Business picks up real quickly. You need to still stick to the same budget that you had before. That's what happens. We think that now we can go out and buy the new car, or now we can go out and get the office building. I can afford it. Your P&L statement shows that is incorrect. You actually cannot afford that just yet. So make sure that you are sticking to your budget. And that's one thing an accountant will do. Will tell you, okay, well, I don't know, what should my budget be? Okay, this is what your budget should be, okay? Accountants can help you figure that out. Okay, another tip is to stop trying to do it all yourself. It's worth the investment. So now because I know a lot of businesses, and some of y'all are in here. I know you guys are. And you can afford to hire an accountant. You can afford to hire people to do specific things for your company, but you won't invest in that. And I get it. You know, you want to use the money maybe for yourself, or you have children and things like that, but it's going to be worth the investment. Every client that works with either me or clients that I know or businesses that I know that work with accountants, their business triples, quadruples, because they now have someone in place who is strategizing on their behalf. You cannot do it all yourself. Just like if at your 9 to 5, they have an HR department. And I get it, we're accountants, so we're entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are in the mindset of, okay, well, I am the IT person, I am the accountant, I am all this. No, you're not, because if the IRS came down on you, you're not going to be trying to go to bat with the IRS. You're going to then hire a professional, right? So if you can afford it, it's better to hire a professional initially. And lastly, pay your taxes. Okay, pay your taxes. That is very important. I know that we don't want to, but let's not be Wesley Snipes. Let's make sure, if y'all know about Wesley Child, that's 80s babies probably know, back in the 90s, he had to spend some time, child, because he wasn't paying them taxes. So make sure that you're paying your taxes. And then if you know that you're going to have income, you know that you're going to have you're going to have what your profit is going to be, or you had profit last year, start to pay quarterly taxes. I know that's another bill. I get it. But guess what? If you pay those quarterly taxes at the end of the year, you may end up getting a refund, or at least, at best, you won't have to pay this big payment, all at one time. So let's make sure that we're using wisdom. Next slide. Okay, so if you need more help, one of the things that I launched was the online Kingdompreneur Bootcamp. And I launched that on and we started on March the 1st through the 2nd, and we had several different online sessions, and it was so powerful, and God placed it on my heart because I know that there are so many entrepreneurs. As an entrepreneur myself, I know that when I first started Recessionista's Closet, I didn't start it correctly. And so I know that a lot of entrepreneurs are in that same boat. So I wanted to be able to equip entrepreneurs to be able to operate effectively in whatever sphere of influence they're in, especially kingdom entrepreneurs, because we are kingdom entrepreneurs. So that means that we're held to a higher standard, and that God is going to hold us accountable for how well we steward our business. Next slide. Okay, so here are some of the sessions that are covered under the Kingdompreneur Bootcamp. So we have accounting and bookkeeping strategies, tax strategies, legal strategies, social media marketing, and then we had a session on breakthrough strategies, walking in faith and integrity, walking in purpose, the highs and lows of entrepreneurship, where we're sharing the realness, okay, of that entrepreneurship is not all roses. There are going to be some low moments. If you ever want to start a t-shirt business, I have an expert who is teaching on how to start a t-shirt business, how to start an online boutique, how to pivot in business when maybe business isn't working and you need to pivot, and how to balance your 9 to 5 and your business. Next slide. So if you need that extra help, so the Kingdompreneur Bootcamp, the online bootcamp for the replay costs $79, and actually God laid it on my heart. So for all conference attendees, it's actually going to be $39 for all 12 sessions. And so you'll be able to get all of those sessions. You'll be able to get all of those trainings. You can watch it from the comfort of your own home. You can watch it at your leisure. We have powerful speakers, few of them you already know: April Wesley, Heather Lindsay, Kiana McGee, so many others. And so this is valid today only. So if you go on, and actually I'm going to do it till tomorrow because I know that how the Wi-Fi system has been working in here. So until tomorrow, if you go to kingdompreneurbootcamp.com and you enter in the code PP19, you're going to get that for $39, okay? Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know that there was so much that I wanted to cover. And I hate that I didn't get to cover it, but you get to get all of that information in the Kingdompreneur Bootcamp and the training.